Okay, if you've made it this far in the video, because I know making soup, doesn't matter how much techno music I add, it's still kind of boring, but I have a potato masher. Just a Camera Girl. I'm your Friday vlogger here on Fantastic 5, and I'm back, and it's fall, so it's getting really chilly out, and that's why I wanted to make you a soup today. Now, soups kind of sound like a cop-out because really you're just throwing everything into one bowl, but that's the glorious thing about soups and stews, is because you can go through the next few months of just making soups, making stews. They're really easy, they take no time at all, so I wanted to share my slimming Moroccan stew with you today. I call it slimming because all the ingredients are packed full of spices and herbs, and you got spinach and you got loads and loads of roughage in there. And yeah, just trust me, it's a very easy way to kind of get back on target, which is something I need to do as well. So here we go. Okay, I've showed you all the ingredients, and what I did is that I put them all in individual little sections. And I did that because really, not to be like Julia Child or anything, but it makes everything so much easier when you're actually cooking what you're cooking. So, the first thing you're doing is getting a screaming hot pan, which is like just turn it up and get it really warm. I just put in some olive oil. And back when I was dieting, and I did Weight Watchers and all those other diets, they were like, ooh, watch your oil, if you can, just do it in water because blah 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 and calories. Olive oil is really good for you, so do not be scared of olive oil. Okay, the first step, we are just throwing in the onions. Just the onions, all of them, all at the same time. Okay, so basically we're just getting our onions nice and soft and kind of, you know, not brown, but kind of getting there. And then you want to add in the garlic. A lot of people make the mistake adding in the garlic right away, but you don't want to brown the garlic. You don't want to burn the garlic, because if you burn it, you're going to get that nasty garlic aftertaste that everybody always talks about. So we have some nice onions. We just put in our garlic. We're going to let this go for a minute, and then we're going to add our spices. Because we already put all our spices into a bowl together, I don't have to individually teaspoon them in. I can just dump them right in with the onions all together. I'm going to stir this around and make like a roux with just the onions, the garlic, and the spices. You're going to let it all just kind of acquaint itself together for a few minutes. Alright, now all the hard stuff is over, so I'm going to wrap up this recipe with you. I'm literally putting in my chickpeas and my tomatoes, and I'm going to top this off with water so that water is covering all the chickpeas. I'm going to let this simmer for 45 minutes. Okay, if you've made it this far in the video, because I know making soup, doesn't matter how much techno music I add, it's still kind of boring, but I have a potato masher. And what this is that it mashes things, obviously. But if you do not have a potato masher, you can kind of use the back of a ladle, the back of a spoon, and what I'm doing is I took the pot off the heat. It's been reduced a lot with all the juices, and I'm literally just going to mash the chickpeas. Okay, so I've mashed it. It's mashed, all the chickpeas are kind of broken up, it kind of has a very stew consistency. And the last thing we gotta do is add in my spinach. Now, at the beginning you might have noticed I have a block of spinach. This is frozen spinach. Only because everything else almost you can get in your cupboard. You just go out and buy an onion, you'll have your chickpeas, you'll have your tomatoes, if you have all the spices, you can put this together at any time, which is why I love it. And I tend to use frozen spinach because you can keep frozen spinach in your freezer all year long. So that's another reason there. I'm just mixing in the spinach. I have it on a low heat. So once my spinach is all kind of even unthawed or all incorporated and wilted, you're going to end up with a nice chunky stew. Some people add pepper and a little bit of salt at this point. I completely leave it up to you. People even add a teaspoon of sugar, which completely up to you. I got this recipe when I was looking for vegetarian stuff online. I've altered it a bit and added more tomatoes and less chickpeas, mainly because I want more roughage out of my soup. You can add an extra can of chickpeas. You can add less tomatoes, you can add more tomatoes. You can add it spicier. You can take some spices away. Whatever you prefer. But it leaves me with a really, really nice stew. I'm going to get about 8 or 9 bowls out of this, depending on how much I want to eat and how big my bowls will be. But I love this recipe. I call it my slimming recipe because it really fills me up and it sort of gets me back on track. And I desperately need that at the moment. So thank you once again for tuning in. I'm Just a Camera Girl. We will see you